chose RCSI was for a multitude of reasons. I remember going to the RCSI Open Day. I would have went to all the open days for the universities that offered medicine, and RCSI was the one that really stood out. Seeing the facilities on campus, the kind of simulation rooms, state of the art, talking to current students about their experience, how clinical it was from the get-go. I also have friends who've gone through RCSI graduate entry medicine program before me, and I would have talked to them, and they had nothing but good things to say as well. So that was the real main reason I opted for it. I did my undergraduate studies in Trinity College in Dublin, and that was in molecular medicine. So I graduated from that in 2016, and actually after that I decided to work for a couple of years just to gain a bit of experience and earn a bit of money really. And I then went back to apply for medicine in 2020, and that's when I went back to RCSI. The first year of the GEM program is like a pre-clinical year, if you like. And that involves modules like, right into biochemistry, kind of physiology, anatomy. I'd say the standout there was either the anatomy, which is very hands-on from the get-go. You kind of study lectures in the morning and then you're in the anatomy lab in the afternoon, kind of like seeing what you've just learned. But a big thing that stood out that year was that there is a clinical focus straight away. We had clinical skills sessions every Friday, and between that and the anatomy, that year kind of stood out for me. In the second year, it's a lot more kind of system-based learning. So you start off with cardiology, you learn all about that, the different pathologies, medication, investigation and management you do, and moving on to respiratory, GI, etc. I would say kind of the respiratory teaching during that definitely stood out. Third year then, it's your paediatrics, obstetric, gynecology, GP placements. For that, the standout was paediatrics, I would say. You spend a lot of the time actually on campus in RCSI in the simulation labs, and the teaching's phenomenal, and it really is a standout. In terms of general kind of overall teachings, I would say the surgery as well has been amazing. Like I recall the plastic surgery rotation I was on, that was particularly good. In RCSI, there's a research summer school that's offered to students. It's a way for students to, link up with a member of staff in RCSI, a professor, someone involved in research, and do a project with them over the summer. It's funded as well, which is always great. On top of that then, I actually, being in RCSI, reached out to an emergency department consultant in Dublin and explained, I was an RCSI student interested in research, and he was glad to take me on. And actually for the last 3 years I've been doing projects with him, and that's ongoing, and I've kind of tried to be balancing that with clinical work and lectures and studying as well, and it's worked out pretty well. RCSI has a big sort of reputation for North American students matching back to Canada, matching back to the States, and I think RCSI appreciates that and definitely supports it well. But from a research perspective, to have the opportunity to do things like the summer school really kind of stand out on your CV and support those applications. Another reason I wanted to choose RCSI was I knew the hospitals that RCSI was linked to, some of the major hospitals in Dublin, Beaumont Hospital, Connolly Hospital, and then for paediatrics like Temple Street and Rotunda Hospital for obs-gynae. I've actually been lucky enough to be on placements in all those hospitals, and I would say what stands out is in all of them there's RCSI tutors who are doctors working in the hospital, but they're also there to help you anytime you need, and they do provide teachings as you go. The paediatrics and obs-gynae rotations really do stand out as being phenomenal, very hands-on, really get you involved. You're seeing patients every day, presenting cases to doctors and just helping out. And then, as I said, the kind of level of teaching that happens both in the hospital and back on site here in RCSI through the simulation labs has been amazing, particularly in those two placements. The GP rotation then as well was a highlight of third year. You spend 6 weeks solely out in a GP practice, and there you get to talk to patients, perform physical exams, and you kind of work with the GP in terms of managing the patients, and it's a great experience. RCSI has a strong focus on helping North American students match back to North America, so Canada, the US. I actually applied to Canada myself, And as part of that, a big thing that will be looked at in your application is electives you've done. So, in keeping that in mind, myself and a classmate decided to create a podcast series. And this was funded by RCSI. We worked with faculty in RCSI to do this. And it relates to interviewing final year medical students who've done electives, asking them about their experience and ultimately giving advice to more junior students who haven't done the electives yet. In terms of electives I've done myself, I've done a few. Ones that would stand out would be an emergency department elective in Beaumont Hospital in Dublin that I did last summer. I've also done 2 GP electives or family medicine electives in Ontario this past summer as well. RCSI runs a collaborative elective program, and this places students in some of the leading institutions across North America, so in Canada, in the States, and gives those students an opportunity to go there for a couple of weeks or a month during the summer, work there, and again that will support their future career aspirations. A big part of my medical school journey as well has been doing the United States medical license exams, or the USMLEs, and also the Canadian Board exams. They're monumentous tasks, but RCSI does offer a lot of help to students to get through them. Not only from running sessions where students who've gone through the process can give you advice and talk to you about them, but also literally teaching you topics that come up and running mock exams. I'd say overall I felt very well prepared for them, and a big thanks to that would be RCSI and the staff and the kind of commitment they have to help students with that. On a broader kind of career readiness perspective, I remember being invited to do a meeting with RCSI's careers team to talk about my career plans and my hopes for the future, and they give great advice about who to link in with and what electives to do, what rotations I should aim for. They also kind of reviewed my CV and told me areas I could improve on, and things that I should write more about or write less about. Just small things like that that really do make a difference.